Yeah, I can always remember your party. There's one here that still makes me laugh to this day. It was the first time ever that I saw people sit down in a track.
Yep. Yeah.
I've never seen that before, never heard of it before, never seen it. And Kev was going, look, you need to change these records. They're bored of it. They've all sat down. So I was like panicking. What record should I put on next? Make them stand back up. Then obviously.
Yeah. Then this was right at the very beginning of the sit downs, and there were all workers at that party. DC-10 used to do all sorts of tricks like just stupidness, and a sit down start. We saw a sit down that start there. And a lot of the workers used to go to DC-10, and it kind of overlapped into what we were doing.
Had the top floor. It was quite famous for the after party. The thing was, the music used to, because it was at the top, the music used to just travel across the houses. And then you say, do you know what? I feel so sorry from that, because it drove me mad. If that was me.
Yeah.
And then used to knock on the door going, please, Mr. Beggars. They even offered to pay for double glazed windows. That's how bad it was. And, they go, what are you doing there all night? Guys, we're record reviewers.
We were terrible, weren't we?
3 recording studios in there. And, there's a big market there now with all them columns. That was top to bottom with vinyl shelves. That was our warehouse for the vinyl. It was like millions and millions of pieces of vinyl in there that we used to distribute. And we were there for 20 years.
You guys produce a lot. You and the people around you have produced a huge volume of tracks over the years.
Yeah, quite.
Prolific.
I
How
don't
many
know.
do you think you've been involved with?
Probably more than 1,000, maybe a lot more. Yeah,
Really?
it wasn't just, it
Wow.
wasn't just the Hoxton Whores name. There were so many, because again, we had the distribution company, so we wanted exclusive product.
Gary, thank you very much for joining me today. It has been some time since we've been in the same room.
It's been a very long time. Yes.
Yeah. I think the last time must have been in Ibiza.
It was. I think played one of your parties.
I mean, we had some fun over there, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we too much fun. Yeah, I can always remember your party. There's one here that still makes me laugh to this day. It was the first time ever that I saw people sit down in a track.
Yep. Yeah.
I've never seen that before, never heard of it before, never seen it. And Kev was going, look, you need to change these records. They're bored of it. They've all sat down. So I was like panicking. What record should I put on next? Make them stand back up. Then obviously.
Yeah. Then this was right at the very beginning of the sit downs, and there were all workers at that party. There were generally all workers, and I think it was our opening event, and I think it kind of started. This was like the very early days of DC-10, and DC-10 used to do all sorts of tricks like just stupidness, and a sit down start. We saw a sit down that start there, and a lot of the workers used to go to DC-10, and it kind of overlapped into what we were doing.
Yeah,
and Slipmat had the same thing as well.
Yeah,
because he said he looked up and everyone was gone, and he was like, "Where the fuck is everyone?" And he said it was a mad experience, because
it was.
Now obviously it happens a lot now, and I don't know if it's as prominent as it used, but it was very, very unique experience, and everyone just goes nuts, didn't they?
Yeah, exactly. It's like but that 30 seconds when they've all gone down, you're thinking, "Crikey!" I thought it was like a protest. Like, what's this shit? We're like,
yeah.
I was panicking for the next record to come in.
They were a great bunch. I think that was 2006. That was.
Yeah.
They're a really great bunch of workers, and they partied hard. They worked hard. And it's a bit different to how it is these days. But talking about yourself now, how many years have you been in the game, the business?
Well, I started off before house music. It was mainly like kind of obviously. I was brought up. I started from the very, very beginning. So been an old mod. My dad was an old mod. Always listened to Northern Soul. Always had ska. It was a soundtrack. how I used to go to Northern Soul events, which, you know, it's like the early all-nighters, up all night dancing. And then kind of, it was the kind of, it must be 1987. I went to babysit for one of my neighbours whose name was Gary Vanderbush, who used to run these under 18 discos every night of the week around various locations. The most famous one was at the Ken Hall in Maidstone on a Monday night. I'd kind of, you know, got talking, ended up becoming a roadie for him, setting up all the speakers and that before the night began. And he could see I had a massive interest in music, and he was a bit of a mentor. Well, he was a mentor. He kind of, you know, I owe quite a lot to him, to be honest. You know, the way he taught me a lot about music in the early days, and I started warming up for him. Just, you know, you just give me a load of records that obviously promos in their time, just to like warm up before he came on. So that was the very start of kind of early hip house. You know, it would have been stuff like Mars, stuff like Fally, Jackmaster, funk, and all that kind of period. And then, you know, from there, just, you know, it kind of grew and grew. The funny thing was, I was the first ever, what I was spoke to this before, to earn an extra £25 a week. I became YTS DJ before. So they thought, well, you need to go to college.
Mental.
Yeah, it was quite funny. So they said, you need to go to college to, obviously, they couldn't work out if you come under leisure or electronics, being a DJ. So I chose leisure, and the only college course for leisure was to train to be a lifeguard, to continue this course. So I've done it for a few months, and obviously, you know, wasn't for me. You know, being a lifeguard, I was not the best swimmer in the world to start with. So yeah, we just continued from doing that, and you know, we was doing every night of the week. We was doing like one in Hastings, the Yorkshire Grey in Eltham, which was another really popular one. And we just used to book like artists around there, like Joy Sims, Mantronics, or people like come do PAs. So that was the very start of me getting into the whole kind of DJing side of things.
Did you think it would become a career?
I kind of, yeah and no. It just happened. It just like, it's all I kind of knew. It was just like music, DJing. You know, from there, I remember starting up a little club night in Maidstone afterwards. This was about 1991, which was called Trotters. It used to be like a little, it used to be like a restaurant, and it was like a function room upstairs. And again, this was, you know, house was obviously here, but we was quite into our hip hop back then. So we used to put on a night with a guy called, my old roommate called Dave and Cable. He went on to become 10th Chapter.
Okay.
And we just put on his like hip hop nights on. And then slowly from that, it turned into house music. So, you know, we used to book people like Groove Rider when he used to play house music. Used to have Ray Keith was a regular feature down there. And, you know, that just grew and grew. And yeah, that used to be our Friday nights.
Wow. So can you remember what equipment you were using back then?
Do you know what? Thinking about this, it was the early Technics. We had the very first 1200s. Yeah. I remember playing on a few shitty Setronic things as well.
Yeah, I remember those.
There's a couple of occasions I was lumbered with those, but yeah, we was quite lucky. Had the latest gear from the off.
Yeah, you were lucky, because I was speaking to some DJs who started in your era who were playing on just awful equipment, and then all of a sudden the Technics come along, and it just changed the game, didn't it?
We were quite lucky, to start from that. Really, I think I would have struggled. I think anyone struggled with the old Setronics. Yeah, I remember having a set of those in my one of my flats. An old set of Setronics for like after parties back of mine. Yeah, that was fun. poor old neighbours were kept up for days.
Oh God, yeah, I know. I dread to think what we got kicked out of a few places when I was a student. All sorts of problems. Probably we were evicted one time.
Yeah,
Properly evicted by like the landlords, estate agents, the bailiffs, the lot come round,
yeah.
and yeah,
I used to have like, it was a massive old Victorian house, and it was all empty. It was all offices underneath, but we had the top floor. It was quite famous for the after party. But the thing was, the music used to, because it was at the top, the music used to just travel across the houses. And then you say, oh, do you know what? I feel so sorry from that, because it would drove me mad if that was
yeah,
me.
yeah.
And then used to knock on the door going, please, Mr. Beggars. They even offered to pay for double glazed windows. That's how bad it was. They offered to pay for double glazed windows just so. And, they go, what are you doing there all night? Guys, oh, we're record reviewers.
We were terrible, weren't we? I mean,
Ah,
I remember
so
at university, when I was in the 90s, in my flats, in my student digs, just didn't care how loud it was. And now, if I'm in a hotel and I hear the slightest noise, I'm like,
I know.
how very dare you?
Yeah,
So
I know.
what the
I've turned into that
fuck?
person as well, But yeah, I do feel sorry for those guys. I really do. And I mean, they were saying, I remember them saying that everyone else in the street is lucky they've got rooms at the back. They've actually moved their bedrooms from the front to the back because of our noise. He goes, we can't. We've got children. We can't. We haven't got that option. And I was looking back now for all those
And
poor.
some of the
Every week there
speakers,
was
those massive speakers we used to have, they
those
weren't just these
those.
small little fucking monitors,
Well, they were. I had them big Jamos. Remember them big
yeah,
Jamo
everyone had
things?
them. Where'd you
Yeah.
buy them from? A service station?
Yes, the ones. Yeah, they just done a refit of a new club, and they had a couple of spare left over. Yeah, those are the ones.
Yeah, we didn't muck around. My mate Nigel, he split his he used to build speakers. I'll never forget, he got in right old shit with his parents because when he was testing a speaker, he split, but crack went down the wall of his
Bloody hell.
house, because of the bass
Yeah,
frequency.
vibrate. Yeah.
So upstairs through the living room, there was this massive crack that went down there. So we didn't mess around with sound systems then, did we? They were a lot more
No,
more raw.
Yeah, but I went around to a few things. They had a proper sound system that you would use big stack, and they had
Yeah,
that. Oh God, they must have
absolutely.
drove people insane. But
So
we didn't give a shit back. We bit selfish.
no, we didn't. No, we didn't. And now with the Monies,
Yeah,
it was the first question I asked when I got to the hotel in Ibiza, and I was going, "It is quiet here, isn't it?" And the manageress gave me her card, and she went, "If there's any noise, just ring this number." And I was like, "Thank you." And I was just like, because you never know when you get to Ibiza, because you could just get a group on their first night who are an absolute nightmare,
Yeah,
like we were.
yeah,
And
exactly.
yeah, and I try and book myself a hotel well away from everywhere, but still, it sometimes happens. And so, did you make a move up to London?
I did. I moved up to London. God, it was in around 90s. It was 96. I moved up here.
Good
We had
year.
the vinyl distribution company then. So it was based at that time, it was based in Bermondsey before we moved to Brick Lane. Vinyl distribution
Yeah.
for, that's been the main work for, most of my life doing, flogging vinyl. So yeah, it was good. There was interesting times. Used to go up to Heathrow, get a container of all the Italian, remember the UMM label, Italian house stuff. Yeah,
Yeah,
so I
yeah,
used
of
to
course I
load
do.
it.
Yeah,
It was Alex
oh,
Party.
some of my
Yeah,
some of my
yeah.
first records.
There was and the Flying Records. That was another big label we used to distribute. So yeah, so I used to get him in a car, go up to the airport, load up, then fly around the record shops and sell my wares. But yeah, it was
That is how, and that's how you continued
yeah,
and
yeah,
continued, just doing that. And where did the Hoxton part come
The Hoxton
from?
part is when we moved into Brick Lane. Um,
Okay.
always we was all making, before that was making tracks under Slick Sluts. I don't remember that. It was more hard house stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Because I was into my
we
hard
used to do things
house.
called Little Tykes and things like that, and then kind of progressed into the Hoxton stuff. It was just we used to just make tracks to fuel the distribution because we'd have exclusives. So no one else is going to have the stuff we've made. So yeah, that kind of the Hoxton has come from that. It was just a bit of it was a gimmick to start with, to be honest. It was just a name. It was never meant to last as long as it did. But yeah, it was.
If I'm right in saying Brick Lane was like a hub for music
It
businesses,
was.
wasn't it? I know 360
Well,
was there,
yeah,
started
they
there.
started. Well, Dean used to work for us. He was our van driver. Before he set up
Okay.
360 and discovered Calvin and Deadmau5. But yeah,
Yep.
we was when we first got there, the Truman Brewery. It was fucking shithole. To be honest, it was just empty. It was just empty
Yeah.
warehouses. It was nothing like what it is now. Like every single part of that space is full of creative types. It's a very big creative hub.
Yep.
I've
been down there a lot. 93
Yeah.
Feet East and all that lot. I mean, I've had some
that
great
courtyard
times down there.
where
But
93 is, that big building opposite, that's where we had the studios. We had 3 recording studios in there. And there's a big market there now with all them columns. That was
yes,
top to bottom with vinyl shelves. That was our warehouse full of vinyl. It was like millions and millions of pieces of
okay.
vinyl in there that we used to distribute.
So, and what year was that? When
So
did you start in?
We started the distribution in Essential in 96, and we were there for 20 years.
So were you DJing alongside this
I
all the
was,
time?
but not as much. I was just
from
doing my own little
96?
parties, and I was doing stuff at the Cross, which was one of my favourite clubs.
Yeah, good club.
And just places like that. But yeah, I was doing it. Wouldn't not as much as just here and there, really, from friends and people like that. And then obviously the Hoxton thing just took off.
When did that take off? What made that
breakthrough? I can remember actually. It was I sampled. Remember that shiny disco balls? Yeah, I'd done a version of that. Sent it out. I remember getting a phone call from Norman Cook and saying how much he liked it, was playing it, supporting it. So yeah, it was nice. A personal phone call showing his support, which was always good. And then it just took from there.
Because I remember the first time I ever heard the name Hoxton Whores. I was in Ibiza driving along, and I think he must have done some parties somewhere. And I'd been living in Ibiza quite a while by then. And my friend went, I went to this party the other night, and there was this DJ couple called the Hoxton Whores playing. And I was like, that's weird, because we were doing the Dirty Rotten Slut thing at the time, and I thought there's some crossover there, and he said it was absolutely wicked party. So there was two of you doing
Kevin,
the Hoxton Whores.
Kevin still he still runs the Whorehouse label. I'll step back from it because I have a ventures going on, but yeah, he's doing well. He's continuing with the sound, still doing Hoxton bits. Yeah. Well, we was like working because we had the distribution company together. So we was like, it's like an old married couple, you know what I mean? We was working all week together, then touring at the weekends together. I saw more on him than I did my family. But yeah, I think he's doing well, mate. We kind of sadly lost touch. But, I still see his name popping up with his music, and yeah, he's still carrying the flame for the label.
The duo thing's really difficult nowadays, anyway, because of the logistics.
It is. It kind
of it.
Now it'd be expensive. You've got 2 flights, 2 hotel rooms, 2 this, 2 that. So we were kind of lucky that we did as many as we did.
Yeah.
There's quite a few times we split up. We were so busy we'd split up to do gigs, which was kind of weird because if you're used to playing as a double, then doing it on your own. It's just a different.
Because there were quite a few duos back then, but I've spoken to a few since, and they were like, it's just the promoters can't
No.
afford to do that anymore, especially with the cost of hotel rooms,
Yeah.
which are just ridiculous, flights,
Yeah.
and then the fees, and then everything on top. So yeah,
I
you
think
hit it
so.
at the
Yeah, definitely.
right time.
And it's
Yeah,
we had some fun, a lot of fun, but
yeah.
it was good traveling with someone because kind of had each other's back, company more than anything. When everyone thinks, oh, this
Mm.
DJ life, but when you're traveling, doing a tour, and you're on your own and you don't know anyone, it is a lonely place.
Yeah, I read that a lot with some people, and then you see some comments going, "Oh, boo-hoo, it must be so bad getting." But to be honest, traveling is
I didn't mind
shit.
it.
I mean, even just
I
coming
used
back
to
from
look forward
Ibiza.
to traveling. It was kind of, I used to look forward. I used to get a buzz of getting to
Yeah,
the airport and having something to eat before. I didn't used to like that. But when we started doing like tours, that was starting to get hard. When we used to do like a 7-day tour, different places every night of the week, and it all starts good because everyone wants you to party. So the first 2 nights, yeah, party, and then you've got to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to get a flight to somewhere else. And by the end of
yeah,
it,
yeah,
you're wiped out, and well, what's up with you? Why, because it must show that you don't want to be there, it
yeah.
is hard,
It's
and it
hard.
kind of, I feel bad for them because they're expecting you to be the life of the party, and you kind of just like want to go to bed. No, so
I can
yeah,
completely
so I mean, I
identify with
chose
that.
not to do too many of them. I prefer just to do one, maybe two weekend, enjoy it, be there, be the last one standing, and give them, not. I never liked big, these DJs that like kind of in out, just spend no time with anyone. I never understood that. I think if they've
Yeah,
invited you to the
yeah. I mean,
party, I think you should be there for the party.
I think we've been quite lucky with some of the stuff that we do, that a lot of the older school, they've had enough of the long haul uh touring life as well, and they'll come and they'll chill out for quite a while with us, and not just do the quick in quick out. Because as I said, I identify with you. Like, we finished at Ibiza last week, and I think I didn't get to bed till 4, and I was up at 5:30 to get to the airport, and then I had to wait at the airport for my connection 12 hours or something, and then by the time I got to Croatia, I was just in pieces. And I'm a little bit older
It
now,
hurts. It
but
hurts more than anything.
it's not nice. You do get some sleep, but it's not. And the thing is, you can't check your luggage
Mm,
in, and it's just, especially
yeah,
records
yeah,
as well.
yeah. Well,
Vinyl, it must have
was,
been even
there's a couple of
worse.
times that they actually lost my record box, which was always my
Yeah,
worst
yeah.
fear. They found it, but which is absolutely pointless after the event. I had to go back to the airport where I had a connecting flight to pick it up. Oh yeah, that was, I don't know how I used to drag around big bags of vinyl and like tour Australia with this
It's
bag, a great big record bag, weighed a ton. I'd hate to think how much they try and charge you now to even get it on the plane. It's just
probably about
yeah.
100 quid, probably. So what was the Londoner scene like around Hoxton,
Um, around then
around then?
it was no, it was no,
It
no, no,
wasn't what
no.
it was
It was just
like the
full of
last
dirty
10,
little
15 years,
warehouses
was
everywhere,
it?
little pockets, but there was loads of little parties going on, and that's kind of how we got the
Yeah.
name Hoxton Whores. There was a quite well-known party called Hoxton Pimps, and they were the really cool underground pies. And I
Okay.
always liked the name Hoxton Pimps. So I'm thinking, how can I do so? Then Pimps Whores. No, I mean, I think I actually come up with the name just so they might connect and go, oh, come and play for us, which I actually did. So it kind of worked in the end. They actually think, oh, we can't have Hoxton Pimps without the Whores playing. So the kind of name came up just because I wanted to play at their party.
It's a great name, because when I heard it that day, and I still remember the day I hit, where I was when I heard that name. I was in someone's van driving. We were doing some stuff. I think it might have been with Dean, actually, and they said the Hoxton Whores. I went, that is just an amazing name, man. 'Cause I knew Hoxton was kicking off. Whores. We were doing the slut party, and then we ended up booking you guys. And it was wild. That I remember those
they were
parties.
pretty full on.
The crowds back then. Yeah, that was properly full on. So let's get on to something that you are prolific at. You guys produce a lot. You and the people around you have produced a huge volume of tracks over the years.
Quite.
Prolific.
I
How
don't
many
know.
do you think you've
I reckon
been involved with?
Got to be more than 1,000, maybe a lot more. Yeah, you know,
Really?
it wasn't just, you know, it
Wow.
wasn't just the Hoxton Whores name. We've done
hell.
Disco Darlings.
Yeah, I know.
We've done all the little coloured vinyls, little Ransom, you know, Dirty. There were so many because again, we had the distribution company, so we wanted exclusive product, you know, and you know, we had 3 recording studios in that block by 93 Feet East, and between me and Kevin, we was like in between them all, do that, you know, just to come up with a track. It become a bit of an addiction, to be honest. But
I mean, that's a lot of tracks.
A lot of remixes. We'd done. Yeah, we kind of got frowned upon because they called it bootlegging back then, but it was never. You know, I mean, to me, a bootleg is when you take a complete track and rip it off. No, I mean, we always. We always had our guys rip it apart and redo it, just to create our sound to play out, really, because a lot of them old tracks, you know, they're quite weak sounding now, and so you needed the bit of room underneath to give it, you know, make it up to date, and that was kind of the whole idea of it. We did get frowned upon a few times.
You still see that today, don't you? You still see that some of the classics
more than ever now. Yeah, I see it more than ever now. You know, it's you know, a classic's a classic at the end of the day, you know, and it needs to be brought up every 10 years or so just for the current sound, you know, just for the current times.
Do you think the musicality is still there that it once was, or do you think it's been saturated by everyone having access to beatport equipment?
It is over, you know, everyone's a DJ now, aren't they? You know, I don't, you know,
everyone.
I don't even kind of be embarrassed to even say DJ. Well, it sounds bad, but it kind of, and that's a bit cringy now. I'm a DJ, you know what I mean? I don't even like saying it, but it's what the thing annoys me about the whole. Now, if we had a good record piece of vinyl, if it was good, we could sell up to like 20, 30,000 copies of it. Now, and you know, it didn't go that far. But now, everyone has access to beatport, but the sales are crap. So where they get their music from? You know, I know there's 1,000,001 download sites out there, but you know, if all these DJs supported the artists properly, then I think you know, we could make half decent living again.
Yeah, everyone's making a bit of a shortcut. Aren't they? And saving their
exactly,
pockets,
which
and
you know, it's always been there. It's always been there. But I remember when I used to turn up at nightclubs. This is when the kind of laptop DJs started. You know, I never took a laptop to a club. One, I'd lose it. I used to get a DJ in front and go, "Look, I'm playing your latest release with some Russian, in brackets, some Russian website. Oh, thanks for the support, mate. Yeah, nice. Cheers."
Yeah, and that's prolific as well, isn't it? It's just all over. Yeah, you just as soon as a track goes up, you can find it on
you know,
dozens of dodgy Russian sites.
You know, I mean, I did have an idea once. I actually went to the PRS to try, and they didn't get it. But you know, like I thought every DJ, everyone that performs in a nightclub, you get like a card, like an identity card as such. You know, like if you're a security guard now, you have to have a SIA badge. So you kind of become a member. So because people could, you know, PRS could check that these playlists. I think they actually do it in New Zealand. I remember when I was in New Zealand, I had to, before I'd done a set, they wanted to know every track I was playing. So they could check, you know, so they could kind of spot check you to make sure you're playing the legit copy.
The legit copy.
Which, great idea.
Fucking good idea.
So, And
What
I
a
kind
great
of
idea.
brought over when you spot check some DJs. Okay, where do you get that track? People, okay, it's almost a bit, I don't know, a bit too militant, but you had to kind of prove where you got the track.
Yeah, but if it's saturating an industry where the producers are literally
They're
getting
not.
no income back from
They're
the
not.
hard
Yeah,
work
they're
they're
not.
fucking putting in, then
Yeah.
something has to be done. You know, I thought that something was going to be happening with Pioneer, and some bit of equipment was going to be coming out that they knew what you were playing and stuff like that. But I don't know whether that ever materialized. But
And, I mean,
something needs to be done because of
well,
it's
it is, I mean,
counterfeiting, isn't it?
you wouldn't go
It's
to
theft.
like a building that like called itself cinema with the latest bootleg copy on DVD, playing it in a cinema. Yeah, it's kind of the same thing. It's just, it's,
They soon nick people down the markets with
exactly.
dodgy
Yeah.
CDs, don't
Yeah.
they? The old bill, and trading standards. So it's got to be something. I'm just so surprised. It's something that's never ever been really
But
dealt with in the
well, they
industry, has
said it
it?
was just, how would they even begin? Just,
You've got to
yeah,
begin somewhere.
just, just a few spot checks in the
Yeah.
club. What are you playing? Where's it from? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, like, here's an example for you. GDPR. Email lists. They brought GDPR in, and everyone shit themselves. And I can name you one person who's ever been checked. Where did you get that email list from? And it's good for a good friend of mine, and they thoroughly went through it. And he had to prove where he got the email list from, whether it was kosher, everything, and if he didn't have, and it was legit, so he could prove that it was from his website generating the list, but he would have been fined thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds if he could not have proven that. But GDPR, have you ever heard of anyone being checked or getting in trouble?
Ask it,
No.
It's just the same thing with this. It would never take off because it just wouldn't have to police it.
But if you could have something like that where it would just, because people are scared of GDPR. I mean, I work with a lot of clients who said as long as it's GDPR compliant, we'll do that, because I always say an email list is your most powerful marketing asset, because it's yours, it belongs to you, and it goes straight into somebody's inbox, and nobody can ever take that away from you as long as you've got it yourself. But that GDPR legislation scared the shit out of people.
And then this is what,
it's
now the kids of the day, they don't know any different. They just think you can do that kind of thing. It's just download from these illegal sites but if you had this like PRS card where if you were checked and you get one warning, if you get caught playing some bootleg music, you get your card taken away, and every club has to only take members in. If you're a PRS member of DJing, you can play at this venue. So
that's given me a thought now. I'd love to speak to someone from the PRS on here, and just to see what their thoughts are on.
This be done because music sells.
Yeah,
it's a joke, It's to the point. It's like, why do people even bother? Obviously, we do it because we're passionate about it. But it's nice to wipe your mouth, earn a little bit out of it a living. But when you're kind of
like you were doing before with physical vinyl.
That's the beauty of it. We knew what a big track was. Then I used to tip off the A&R men and say, look, we've just done 10,000 lists in one day. The amount of big Ibiza tunes that came through us that we kind of tipped off and become massive hits.
Yeah. I mean, how many records were you putting out a month?
My personal stuff or just in general?
Just, let's say your personal stuff.
I was doing a good, 10 under different names.
And that was going through the 3 studios that you had? Yeah. So you're going jumping from one to another, and that's what you were doing, literally night and day.
You know, we had this amazing engineer. You know, he's absolutely massive. James Reynolds. You know, we must have robbed that poor guy. You know, he was amazing talent. We could tell he kind of knew what we wanted. You know, they'd go, right, what do you think of this? Okay, cool. Yeah, yeah, it was good. It was good to have him.
Having that engineer there is just so crucial, because I've spoken to a lot of people who use engineers, and there's nothing wrong with using the skills of someone who is technically brilliant to create that sound for you. You have to have it.
I mean, I know people that don't have engineers, but they're never happy. They never finish their music. They've got tons of stuff because, I mean, if you're paying for someone, you know you're going to get that job done. You know what I mean? But when you're kind of doing it, you're thinking,
yeah,
I'll come back to that. I'll come back to that. And you know what music's like within 3 months, it's a whole different style of music again. So it can sound very dated very quick.
I mean, I've heard some, I've done quite a few of these podcasts now, and I've heard some always similar certain names. I've got some northern engineers who I know are amazing, some southern ones that are amazing, that a lot of labels are using because they are that good, you know, and they're getting that final 20% out of the track, which is what they want. Is there any one remix that really defined or remix your original that really defined the Hoxton or the biggest era for you?
Because it was that electro sound. I think that's what we was well known for. That electro.
It was, wasn't it?
It's a shame it never kind of made a comeback. To be honest, you know.
I was gutted actually, because we were playing a lot of it, weren't we?
It's quite prominent sounds. You know, like your Dee Ramirez and all your early Chris Lake stuff. But yeah, we done a remix of Cream's "Sunshine in My Love," which is the old Eric Clapton track, and we did it, and it was never gonna see the light of day purely because it was, you know, Cream, biggest rock band in the world. But then Fatboy Slim played it at Glastonbury, and the BBC used it on the Glastonbury opening titles for the BBC. Next minute, the phone's rung. Right, we want it. Okay. So, you know, I've still got the facts today from Eric Clapton's manager going, I don't like what you've done with my record, but I appreciate you and give you my blessing. And it was like, you know, that was set, you know, we've done a massive video for it. You know, we weren't allowed in the video. It was pure female. The video is really good, actually. It was all girls only. I couldn't even get I know I wanted a little sweeping up roll at the end of the camera, like a little bit at the end, sweeping up. I couldn't even get that. So yeah, that was one of our biggest ones. Ones you know, one of the biggest tracks and one of my favourite tracks. So getting the blessing from the man himself to go ahead with it was good. It was all set to be a big crossover track, but the record label released it 2 weeks before Christmas, which I never fucking got. I never got it. I never got.
Yeah.
Like, if they released it in the summer, it would have been at the end of the top 40.
Well, the thing is, but what year was that? Because that was, if I remember rightly, we used to go on holiday in January. The whole industry used to be like a month off, wasn't it? So if you release it a couple of weeks before Christmas, no one's going to be about in January to push it.
They released the official copy released it, but at Christmas you got everyone's aiming for the Christmas #1. So you've got all the biggest acts in the world.
Yeah.
You know, just at the time releasing. And so we didn't get all coming out.
They're all coming out of the cupboard, aren't they? I would love to have had a big commercial here, but then again, I think I quite like the idea of not everyone as well, because it stayed a bit underground. But the thing is, that the artists that I was involved with over in Ibiza, everyone loved your stuff. Everybody loved the stuff that you were producing. It was always being played in Ibiza. So you had releases across multiple labels, Ministry of Sound, Tool Room, the lot. I mean, how did all those come about?
I think purely because the distribution we're banging out, you know, they knew.
Yeah.
They could tell, you know, obviously A&R was in every record shop, what's selling, what's the big ones. So we was pushing our own stuff in there. It's kind of, you know.
And is there any particular track of yours that you would play religiously?
You know what, there is a track. It's an original track, actually. It's It's called Sunrise, and it's sung by Kirsten. I can't remember her last name. How awful. Kirsten Cummings. Sorry, totally had memory blank then. And she's laid down the vocal. It's a beautiful, beautiful vocal, and it's still, you can still play that now. I'm surprised it never got as big as it was. But yeah, it was quite melodic, and you can still drop it now, without a doubt.
You've gone from doing the vinyl distribution, Hoxton Whores, DJing, touring. Now where have you gone? Because you're doing other stuff now, aren't you, as well?
Kind of left the Whorehouse label, I kind of set up a few labels myself. Purely sort of I've always done, just had a label of some sort.
By the way, I'm going to drop all the links into the description below here so people can check everything out. And guys, check the artwork out. It's wicked. Is that you,
With lockdown, I discovered a new little skill, just doing bits of artwork. It's something I quite enjoyed.
You've always been into your art, haven't you?
As you can see behind, everywhere you go, there's art around the house, you know. But yes, it's you know, because it's got a label, got Revoke Nation, Electric Paradise, and Ejected, which is a new label, which just seems to be doing quite well. But my main daytime job now, I run a promo company, which is called all the W's pro-mode.club. So what I do is I've always shared about music in one way or another. It's either vinyl or digital or whatever. So we have a pool of about 3,000 DJs around the globe, made up from all the AAAs, the tastemakers, right down to your resident club DJs. So people send me a track, I listen to it, and then if it's good, if it fits our DJs, I'll send it out to them, and then they get some feedback. So basically handing the record in front of them, in front of all their eyes, so they can see and hopefully play.
Getting it in front of eyeballs.
Which you have to do now, you know, because
I
never understood where, you know, some artists spend all this time and money create a track and then release it, hoping it'll be discovered on people.
I've read so many times that like a DJ, not necessarily a professional, maybe like just a bedroom DJ going, I've just sat for 3 hours going through Beatport and it's all the same and I can't find anything, and just they've lost faith trying to find tracks because there's so. I mean, I dread to think, you probably know more than me. How many tracks are released
someone said like nearly 100,000 tracks each month. Yeah,
I've heard that. I've heard that more than 1999.
You know, and unless you got, you know, this is the beauty of what I do. You know, at least put it right in front of them. Might not be their thing, but you know, but there's tracks I think sometimes maybe not, but then it's like you just never know. It's their personal choice. The DJs don't know.
And anyone can send me a track.
They can submit it on the website. All the facilities there to do it. And if I think it. One of the reasons I do it, because everyone has to start somewhere. Everyone needs to get their track. Well, you know, just to get a bit of traction on.
What a good idea! And this has been going a little while. You've done this for a couple of years, haven't you?
Me and Joel have been doing this for coming up to our 6th year. Yeah.
6 years. But, okay, how time flies again, Gary. You know, it feels like a couple of years ago. I remember reading you first started doing that.
Yeah, I know it's a bad time. It just lies. Yeah, thank God for Facebook memories, because I was totally forget on a lot of my timeline.
Yeah. And what sort of genres can be submitted to your promo?
Most electronic music, mainly house. That's our kind of main thing. Disco, tech, bit of Afro, soulful house.
What about the techno and the trance sort of stuff?
Not so much techno. It's something like that.
There is a lot of it out there now, isn't there?
I'll be honest with you. I can tell you a good techno track to a bad techno track. You know what I mean? So I only do stuff that I kind of know what I understand.
You know, and you get.
Yeah.
Yeah, yep. And that sounds like just such a brilliant idea, because it's often a thing that people are talking to me about how much music is out there and how many DJs are out there and how to get
Yeah,
discovered
it's
and stuff
it's
like
something
that.
that
But
needs, you know,
what a
it's
fantastic idea.
something that needs to be done. It should be, you know, because what DJs like a promo upfront as well. So usually we promo a track 4 weeks before release. So DJs feel like got a bit of an exclusive cut for a while before everyone has a chance of getting it. We do a lot of unreleased stuff as well. So be a lot of like a white label kind of booty style as such, re-edits. We do a lot of those kind of stuff. So these tracks will never see the light of day unless they come through us. You know, DJ tools.
And so you must have broken a few
It's been a
tracks then.
few. There's been a few out there. Yeah, there was a big one this year. We've done a Rouge.
Rouge
We
from
done his
Birmingham.
track, and next minute Cole Cox played it at Universe, and yeah,
Universe. I saw them. I saw him and
yeah,
George going crazy
yeah.
about that
It
online.
was good.
Yeah. I see the videos.
Yeah,
Fantastic. I mean, you know, and to get something. God, could you imagine the amount of tracks
I
that
know.
people trying to get to Carl
Yeah.
Cox?
Well, I think Jamie Jones. You know, Jamie Jones reacted back on it, saying like a feeling this that he
All right,
does on all his tracks. When he feels something, he feels it. You know, and yeah, it was Cole and Jamie playing together. So I don't. Yeah, so
they're
I'm not
back to
sure
back,
who.
weren't they? Yeah,
Yeah, so
it was the opening party, wasn't it?
So we were super excited with that, and
Mm.
you know,
Excuse the
eh,
water. I'm still suffering a
so
little bit from
I
my
forgot a big jugger.
Ibiza.
Oh no,
Oh man, it's the only thing getting me through at the moment. I've had this bloody Ibiza sickness
there's a
since I
lot
got
going.
back, and as I said,
There's a lot going round.
usually it would have been self-inflicted, but it's definitely not this time because I
Yeah,
wasn't drinking. So, um, but yeah, no, it's a fantastic. I haven't really looked too much into it, but since I've been, because I've been wanting to get you on this podcast for ages and ages, because I know you have such a big backstory. Where did the Hutch come from?
yeah,
Because that was because obviously you moved
yeah,
from away from the Hoxton Whores, and Hutch you
yeah,
still do
Still,
DJ, because I still see your
still
bookings.
your. But I kind of hung them up a little bit stupidly at the beginning of the year. I kind of had it kind of. I never usually say no to an event, so I'm always saying yeah. And then I was doing gigs, and I was thinking, this ain't me. I need to stop. I need to stop what I'm doing
Yeah,
and do stuff that I want to do. And it's good, you know. I mean, I'm all about playing little intimate basement warehouse clubs again, which I like. I love the idea of the DJ can't even be seen, and you know, what I mean,
yeah,
this is
yeah.
what's kind of exciting for me again. Just doing these little events, not about my name flashing behind. Doesn't appeal to me, you know.
I think more and more of these will come up, because I think the technology's got so far now with it's they're not
There are
parties, they're
shows, and you know,
shows.
you've seen these DJs dancing around like they're just testing for Strictly Come Dancing. You know, it's because they feel like they need to do something. You know, no one wants to see a DJ just like that. You know, but I mean, we all love a groove.
We never used to see the
We all
DJ,
love a
did
groove
we?
on behind it,
It's
the
just stuck
decks. You
away.
know, everyone does. But when I see people having to do this performance just because the camera's on them, you know, it's just like thinking,
Yeah,
I don't do
yeah.
that.
I think the
I think
tide
it
will
is now. I
turn,
think it
because I
is
think
massively.
people are. Yeah, I think people have had enough of it, and luckily we've just come back from Ibiza, and we've had some real authentic moments where we can just look at the few thousand people on the dance floor with
Yeah.
no
I've,
phones
I've,
in the air, and they're proper having it, you know. And so, do people still see you as the Hoxton Whores
a
and
few
refer
people
to you
do
as
that
that?
know me, but you know, it's a name I kind of. It was a moment in time, you know. As you know, I mean, I want you to
Yeah,
move away from it
yeah.
completely and say Kev is carrying on with the name. He's carrying on with the label. He's doing a really good job of it. But yeah, I love to change things. And I've coming up with a new name. That was one of the hardest things, and I've got a Starskin Hutch car over there, and I always love Starskin Hutch. So I'm thinking, yeah, I don't know about Starsky, but Hutch, I'll go with Hutch. And that was it.
And that
Simple as
was
that.
it.
Bit of a Starsky and Hutch fan as a kid. Yeah, I've started making some other tracks under Weekend Offenders as well. I've got a little.
Okay.
There's about 10 tracks coming up. Bit more tougher than the kind of Hutch stuff. Bit more kind of bit more techie. So yeah, the Weekend Offender I thought was a good name for myself. I was always a Weekend Offender.
You also have Strategic
Yeah,
DJs.
Strategic DJs is just an agency we set up a couple of years. It's a booking agency.
Booking agency for
Yeah, got some.
for
We've got-
events.
It's
You got some good talent on there.
Great talent on it, but there's also an option there you can tick if you want them to do a production remix. So it's not purely for DJing. No, they're all non-exclusive. You know, they all do their own bits and pieces. But yeah, there's an option there. Yes, right. It's there as a service. It's handy for me when someone wants to, deal with me now. Just like speak to Joel. You know, he can sort all that because there's something about dealing motors and hard work. So yeah, Joel's good as gold. He can deal with it.
Yeah.
With it.
Yeah. I've got a similar relationship when Nick deals with all of the bookings, agents, managers, and I deal with all the digital side of stuff. So I don't get involved with that because it can get tricky.
It can get.
You know, there's some tricky egos
there seems to be a lot of that
in the
moment,
industry,
which hopefully will.
Yeah, I mean that was coming on to my next question actually. What has changed over the last 10 years? Do you think in the last within the industry? I know social media has had a massive effect. Do you think that's had a huge effect on how DJs are perceived?
Yeah, I everyone's out there everyone needs content. You know, I mean, I don't know if there was some sort of manual going around of how to become a DJ, that you need to bombard the socials with content from what you've had to dinner to talk about. You know, it's just, I mean, I've never been one for doing it, you know, but even to do this interview, I don't like being in front of a camera.
Yeah, I know that. I know that.
So, you know, maybe it's a downfall for me. You know, I mean, I can't be this person on socials. It's not your thing, though, Gary. I just, I haven't got that. I'd like to think I haven't got that egotistic manner. You know, I just like to think me normal.
I mean, some people are just great on camera and are naturally very, very funny. And I've got to give it up to him. He's very commercial. I've been following him since he was a small artist. Is Fisher. And I followed him from when he was really small online.
Was it tap holding?
And he was, yeah. And he's always been a funny fucker online, you know?
Yeah.
Very clear. And like, I remember one time when he nicked the promoter's car, you know, and he's nicked the promoter's car and he's filming it and stuff like that. And it's just
it's
he's just a mad
I mean, he's
cunt.
a proper show.
Yeah.
And I think this is the line now. You're either an entertainer or DJ as such. You know,
and I think they're more like pop stars now.
You know what I mean? They're selling out fucking stadiums.
Yeah.
You know, but
yeah, absolutely.
You either got it or you haven't. You know what I mean? Say they haven't got that showbiz kind of come across on the camera, you know.
So nowadays, what do you look for in tunes when they're being sent to you? You must. How many do you get sent to you?
We do get from Promo Club. You know, we do on average about 80 promos. You know, we try and stick to about 80. I think too much of that can be, you know, people can get pissed off getting sent too much stuff every 5 minutes. They're not. You're only as good as your last promo you send out as well, I think. So, you know, it's a tricky one because, as I said, everyone is where people sadly weren't good enough. You know, I can understand, as I said, got to start somewhere. But then ended up, you kind of feel like you're kind of producing a track for them. Okay, do this, do that, which can take up a lot of time, you know. So I kind of had to stop doing that. You know, there's so many people send us
Yeah.
tracks that are not even mastered. You know, that's rule number one. Get it to a point where you're 101% happy with it. You're sending a track going, it's not nearly finished. You know, and I'll switch off straight away. You know, like, you know, it's, you know, you can tell
Yeah.
they've done it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I bet there's a
they've
lot
done
of
it on their
that.
laptop, and they say, yeah, my mates really like it, and yeah, but well, yeah,
Yeah.
we get a lot of
Great.
stuff. It just has
Great.
to be punchy. You know, it just has to be a good track. You know, I think you know when it's a good track. It's just good quality.
Yeah.
Yeah, of
You know
course.
straight
Yeah,
away, don't you? It's
yeah.
oh,
You know, I mean,
that
and
is,
I have to put
yeah,
a cap on there
definitely. But
where it can't be my personal stuff. You know, because there's been a few things I thought, I'm not sure, but I sent it out and it's gone bosh. You know, so you never know. You never know what's a good track. You know, something could be a little bit different.
so you must be finding new talent
Yeah,
then
all
as
the
well.
time. You know, I've said with the labels, we've got some great talent. Joel runs strategic music management, which has got
Hmm.
some amazing artists on there, from Product of Us to Free Jack to, yeah, he's got a good roster. So yeah, he's kind of busy on that front.
So do you do the management
I don't do
side
the
as
management
well
side,
as
so
the
we do.
booking side? But the
Yeah,
strategic
yeah,
does both bookings
management. Yeah,
and management. So you would do like management of like certain artists that you found, because obviously others on your roster will have
yeah.
other
Well,
managers. Is that
yeah,
correct? Because the reason why sorry to interrupt. The reason why I ask is a lot of people watching this don't think a manager and a
yeah. Different.
booker
No, they don't do
are
booking.
the
They
same
don't do. They
are
don't
the
do
same
bookings. Yeah,
uh,
he manages.
yeah,
No, he looks
are the
after
same
Ronnie
thing.
Spiteri, Charlotte Moss, which is another one. We know we do a lot of our stuff on the labels, and you know she's getting there. She's blowing up nicely. Ronnie Spiteri, you know, he's going to be one of the next ones coming through in my eyes. He looks after. You know,
Yep.
Danny Howard's always playing his music every week virtually on his Radio One show. So yeah, Joel does that side. I do, and the labels, and then we've got the labels together. We've got the promo and the agency together. But yeah,
Busy,
it is busy.
busy,
It is busy. It is.
busy.
It's
Yeah, yeah. I'm glad for you, mate, because the DJ scene was getting so fucking saturated. With when it went digital, and
you
and
know, there's
I met you before that,
yeah.
the digital era. Yeah, and I'm glad you've gone on you've kind of gone full circle, haven't you?
I have
Back
gone full
into
circle.
your
Definitely back to
the
shouting about music
yeah,
again. You know, and back to
yeah, yeah.
dingy
Good
little
for
warehouse
you.
clubs, which I'm all over. I'm enjoying it.
Oh yeah, no, that's definitely. I mean, do you think the house scene's changed for better or worse at the moment?
Oh, that's a tricky one. You know, I mean, a lot of people just call me an old dinosaur if I come, you know, but do you know what? I will be positive on this one. It's different.
It's just different, isn't it?
It's a different machine.
It's just I don't. Maybe maybe I should rephrase that. Is the house scene? It's a
Yeah,
different
this is a
beast
different animal,
nowadays.
which
Would you
is
agree?
it's good for the scene. You know, look at some of these like, you know, these festivals now. You know, you've never seen so many, you know, all the kind of the BB crew and all the, you know, Pausa selling out at the park and, you know, yeah, I say it's in a good place. It's got to be. You know, what I mean, the kids now love their house music. Apart from my kids, my
They love their
kids are not a big
festivals.
fan of house music, which is really weird. Yeah,
Oh really? I was
yeah,
like, they probably
exactly.
heard
But
it so much. They're like,
my son,
oh yeah, yeah.
he's into his old hip hop. He's nicked all my old 80s hip hop. Yeah, and
That's
he's
great.
got them all nicely neat in his room, all all which is good. You know, that's where how I started early hip hop. So yeah,
Wow. And
he's
how old is
just
he?
about to turn 18. So it's yeah,
Wow.
yeah, and
That's amazing. I
he's
mean, some of
buying
the old
vinyl,
hip
old
hop.
hip hop vinyl himself as well. Just like, okay, cool. You know, I took him to see Public Enemy last month, and he loved it. You know, which was a really good show actually overall. Yeah,
Awesome, awesome. Like, so definitely
yeah,
taken after
yeah.
his old man. And so you prefer to play the more intimate
I do,
gigs
I do.
nowadays.
It's you know, I mean,
Yeah.
it
Is that
does.
what
I
gives you
enjoy
the
it because
buzz?
you can kind of hold them. You kind of got them all in one place. They're all, you know. the thing of doing a big thing, you know, don't get me wrong, I used to love that as well, but you stand there, look at it, guarantee you're not going to please every single person on that dance floor. There'll be someone, oh, what's this shit? Then you've got no, then you just concentrate on that side. Well, I'm going to get into dance. You know what I mean? So there's too much going on. It's like, you can't keep everyone in the same vibe.
Yeah, especially with social media, because then you get the fucking monies and then you get the keyboard
exactly.
warriors, and we find the bigger events we do, the great feedback we get, but then we'll get the
You're always
moaners,
going to get
you know,
it.
and
You're
people
always
love to
going to
jump
get it. You're
on
never going to
that
please. You're
that
never going to
negative
please
thread.
everyone. Yeah, so, you know,
Yeah, they might have had a
playing
shit
to
night.
200.
It's so sorry,
Yeah,
you know, but
so that is where
yeah,
I've
a lot
been in that
easier.
before.
But unfortunately, those sort of clubs, the smaller clubs, they don't really exist
Well,
anymore, though, do they?
only because everyone feels like they need to do these big clubs, you know, and because they feel like they need to, they're going to book a big headline DJ, they need a certain amount of people to pay for that guy. So it's all big, but you know, if they are there, they're popping up, and I've seen more and more now. My eyes are open to it. Now we're doing one at the end of the month. It's a little outfit called Punk. It's a little warehouse basement in Hackney. Great sound system, no lights, no frills, just pure music. Can't even see the DJ. Can't see the DJ
Fantastic.
booth, which perfect.
Absolutely fantastic. I was speaking to John 00 Fleming the other day, and he said, in the trance scene, the underground is still well alive.
Exactly,
and
I didn't.
Hard
my
enough.
eyes were off
You
it
know,
for a while, so yeah, I can see it again now.
He travels a lot for it, and he goes to events where people are dancing. They're not looking at the DJ; they're dancing in their groups, and it's just he can play to them, and he can play 3
and that's the other thing as well.
Sets and
1 hour sets. You know what I mean? This is why I had to.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you know, at least 2. You know, I mean, and this is the thing when you're doing a lineup with all these DJs, and because you need to get all these names on board, you will get an hour. You just can't go anywhere with it. You literally can't go anywhere with it.
Yeah. No, we did God's Kitchen last week or the week before, and they're 1 hour sets. But to be honest, we did it for a reason. Is because we haven't been back. God's hasn't been back in amnesia for a lot of years. So, I don't think Paul Van Dyke has been back since 2015. Fergie since 24 years ago. Eddie Halliwell since another 20 years, maybe. I don't know. A long time.
Well, you had to.
And we thought, if this is going to work, we opened 2 hours early. We opened at 10. 10 till 6, and we're the only brand besides Kevin and Perry that does that. So we tried to extend it, and but yeah, and then we had Marrow and Tall Paul, but it was, we just tried to get the whole crew back together, like a reunion.
I can understand.
I think that, but when I see the festivals where it's like they're coming off at like 12:15, and then it's just like they've got 45 minutes or an hour. I'm just like,
yesterday it was like, I think 6 hours. There were 77 DJs in 3 rooms. So like, was it 10 minutes each?
Did you get a tune each?
Must be.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Must cost them a fucking fortune. I've had you for an hour already.
Yeah,
how quickly did that go? You've played all over the world. Any gig that stands out as the most surreal, or any biggest memory for you for any gig?
There's quite a few in Russia. We used to be in Russia quite a bit. There's
you talk about this online quite a bit.
Fucking used to. You know, I miss it actually. The Russian clubbers were amazing. Used to turn out the most stunning nightclubs. But you'd fly onto a domestic flight, and like a shantytown almost, and there'd be a multi-million-pound nightclub in the fucking middle of it. Like it was so bizarre.
Crazy.
Some good times there, but one of the standout ones, and I've tried to research this place and I cannot find it anywhere. So we flew to Rio in Brazil, and we was told we've got to meet at. We drove down to this dock, and I thought it was like a harbour, and I thought, okay, I can't hear no music. All the lights are off. Oh, this is gonna be shit. And then we got on a Sunseeker yacht, went out to sea, and we was out to sea for 20 minutes. I could hear boom, boom, boom. It was a fucking island in the middle of nowhere with all these catamarans pulling up, with all these people, the Brazilians all jumping.
Wow.
It was honestly, it was. I didn't want to leave. You had to do. It was like a dream.
Like a
We was told
dream.
where to leave, and fuck it. I was going to fuck the other gig off just so I could stay here longer. And they'll go, no, come on, get back on the boat. And it was, it was something out of a movie. It was just so surreal. And I've never been able to find this island or this club, wherever it was, since.
Are you sure it wasn't? Are you sure it wasn't a dream?
I've got some pictures to prove it. Actually, otherwise,
oh, that's good.
Me and Kevin in a bit of a drunken state coming back on the boat.
I'm so glad that I set up the Ibiza Worker Facebook group, because looking back now, and I was speaking to people last week in Ibiza, it's just like the shit we used to do. It's just like, I don't know how we got away with it.
I come back thinking, how the fuck did I survive that? I mean, there's one incident. You know where Pasha is? At the end, there's a big bit of land. There's nothing there. Well, one morning, me and Mickey Slim, Mickey, you know where it's going, don't you? So, so there's Pasha. At the end, our villa was on the other side. So we thought, instead of walking that way, why didn't we cut across? Fucking hell. 5 hours later, we're up to that much in shit, basically. It's a fucking cesspit. And instead of going back, we carried on going. Joking aside, because we could have sunk quite easily. So it was dark when we started anyway. The morning's come. All the locals are all parked around outside. What the fuck is they doing? Someone had to jump in the end and get me out, because I was like, fucking,
That's very funny. Was it a cesspit, or was it like the swamp thing?
I've heard it was a cesspit where all the shit ended up.
Oh my God, I've got a shower. Another question I've got for you. How many days in a row did you do the Groundhog Day meme?
Christ. That keeps popping up in my bloody memories of it. I
bet it does.
With George Powell, who looks after Who. It was a little joke thing between him. I think he started it. I carried it on. But it was like continuous. I'd post it. For months and months. Yeah, I still get reminders every day, because it's coming back round to that. Like, this day. Yeah,
absolutely. Everyone loved it.
It was a strange time.
Everyone loved it.
Very strange time. So we had to make our own stupid entertainment up, whatever we could do.
Oh, was it COVID time?
Yeah, because we was all locked down.
Obviously that makes sense now. Yeah.
That was the whole idea of it.
Oh yeah, it was. Luckily on the island that I live in, it wasn't too bad. It was like business as usual, because no one really took it that seriously, and it was just there's only a few thousand people here. So
not enjoyed, obviously, the people fucking dying from it, but I kind of enjoyed. I reevaluated a lot of my life during that time. I didn't drink at all through lockdown. I think maybe once I had a drink once in a whole lockdown period, because I thought I could. Because I saw people getting fucking going crazy, whatever, and I thought, right, if I do that, I'm going to be fucking. It's going to affect me a lot worse. So, I set up. I learned art courses. That obviously the promo club worked solid, building the list on that. Because obviously there's no club, so people wanted music for radio shows and podcasts. So it was all perfect timing for what I had in mind. It just got rid of all the things I don't need. Just thought, right, don't need flash cars anymore. What's the point? Don't need a nice. Now I ride around in a 1962 old Lamborghini. And it's gone from one extreme to another.
Yeah, you still use.
From one extreme to another. Just for all the things just you need in life. Just learn how to make a pot of tea with one tea bag.
bit of a declutter.
Indeed,
Absolutely. Final question. Do you have any particular one tune of the last tune of the night that you would play?
Do you know what?
Is there anything in particular?
There is a track that one of my all-time favourites. I try and squeeze it in, especially if I'm doing the end set. I was lucky enough to do a festival, the Blueberry Festival, and I dropped it at that, and it was massive. Take Unfinished Symphony. Yeah,
I think I've heard that before. I think someone's mentioned that before on a podcast.
It's one of the tracks I got married to, walked down the aisle to, wife walked down the aisle to, was that track. So it's just a beautiful track. Yeah.
It is, isn't it?
There's a few mixes have been brought up today, so it's got that little bit of, you can play it, drop it. But yeah, finish the night.
Fantastic.
I can't go wrong with that track in my eyes.
I'm positive someone else has said that track because I named the podcast One More Tune, and now I hate asking the question because most DJs are like, I ain't got a clue, and also what we're finding out is that a lot of people don't play that last.
No, exactly.
Set now,
it's rare. It's rare that I do it because I like to be home by 9 o'clock now.
Yeah, and people leave at the clubs earlier now, and that one more tune, that chant, it's kind of dissipated from the scene a little bit. It's a funny question, but I'm glad you can answer it because I always a little worried about asking.
It's one of my all-time favourites,
Anyway, Gary, thank you so much for your time. I've really appreciated it, and hopefully we're going to get you over to Ibiza next year. But who knows what's going on with Ibiza? Everyone always asks us what's going on with Ibiza next year. But again, another evolving beast. You never know what's going to happen. Like Universe opened this year, changed the island dynamic so much.
It's new and fresh though. And now people go for it next year again as much.
I think it's going to. Personally, I think it will take a couple of years for it to just settle down, and because it's obviously taken a lot of business from other areas, and it's just affected the dynamic. But they've done it well, They've done it well, and they've kind of left nothing to chance.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
And everywhere you go, I think it is. I mean, everyone says Ibiza evolves, but I don't know whether it evolves for the better.
I'm just like Pikes now. I'm quite happy to just go there and enjoy my.
Yeah. Pikes for sure. Absolutely. All right, Gary. I know you're extremely busy, and I'm loving the promo idea. By the way, because I wasn't too sure what you were doing. But it's what a way to get music out there. It's good. It's great. It's just seeing the feedback, because obviously when they get the record, they have to feedback, and people want to hear. So through the noise.
You can make a track. You don't know what people actually think of it. This is a chance where people. No, not everyone's going to like it, but majority will.
And also negative feedback,
as long as it's constructive. Well, I've had to take a few people off.
Yeah,
Last, I don't have any. No one's got anything like constructive to say about it, and they're gone.
Yeah. No, I get that. You're a nice guy. Gary, on that note, I'll love you and leave you. And thank you so much for taking the time out to speak to me today. As I said, I've been wanting to get you on air for ages, and now I've got Ibiza out of the way. I can finally get my head into doing some more of these.
Okay, appreciate it.
Okay, Gary.
Big love.